Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the dinner table. Welcome to our Sunday usual sit down feast. Tonight is a little different. We want to bring something a little different. I think this is more warranted because of the nights and because of the weekend. I think this was a little more. So, I am your host, Big Rand. Welcome to the dinner table with my homeboy Josh in the house. Speak up for yourself, man. Say something, man. You smiling?
Josh.
Say hello.
You call me Josh.
I mean, Sashi, I'm Sashi.
Shout Boogie up in
Shy
here.
Boogie is in the house. I did call you Josh. And I'm looking at him like, why he ain't say nothing? It's me. It's me. Oh, hold on, let's get a drum roll for the next person. Let's welcome back to the platform. Welcome back to the dinner table. Miss Anna Love. What's happening?
How y'all doing, guys?
Miss Anna
How
Love
y'all
back
doing?
at the table. And always a pleasure, always with us, always hiding in the corner. Mr. D Boogie is in the house.
What's up, guys?
Woo!
Everybody's in the house.
That was
So,
too much.
I want to say this. Tonight I want to talk about crime in New York City. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because right now the crime rate is being blamed on the migration that goes on in the five boroughs. And I kind of disagree. I think the crime in the city was the way it was before they got here, and it's going to be that way when they leave. If they leave, that's my opinion, my thoughts. But I don't want to go by statistics. I don't want to do that. I don't want to sit at the table and say, well, according to what I read, this is what happens. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go by what you see, because I know what I see. So I'm going to start with Shy Boogie first. I'm going to give it to you. Usually I start with the lady, but I'm going to give it because this Shy Boogie, your thoughts. Go ahead, you first, Shy.
My thoughts on like crime rates when it comes to the city, like the entire city.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like when it comes to the city, I don't think there will ever be a point where it's ever be considered safe, not just in the city but in general. You know, I'm not saying this for everybody to be scared or anything, but I feel like that's just a general like instinct everyone should have. You know, you never know if you leave your house if you're gonna come back. You know, but as like specifically with the city, I feel like in the Bronx, right? I can't necessarily determine if it's safer now, but I feel like they're being more cleaner now. You know, is a good way to start off. Like, you know, if you looked at old videos of the Bronx from the 80s and stuff, a lot of these big buildings weren't here, and it was like big ditches and stuff. But I feel like is the question like, is it safer now than it was back then, or?
Well, I mean, as a person who comes from that era, I do come from the 80s. It's funny, I had a conversation with my son. And my son said, Dad, there's no different from what you guys did then to what we did now. The only thing is that
Technology, for sure.
everything changed, even down to the music. Technology has advanced. Music is different.
Entertainment in general.
But I purposely think from what I'm seeing, what's happening in New York City, to me, crime is at an all-time high. And I say that because there are so many people right now who are angry, so many people who are misplaced, so many people who don't have time, so many people who are putting in time but they're getting no results. It's a lot of things happening right now. I don't think nobody's satisfied with what's going on, and it's causing total chaos. And I don't think it has anything to do with migration at all. I think it's the people, the land.
So, like, do you think it's worse now than it would be, like, back in the 80s, you say? When it comes to, like, people being more angry?
The only thing that might have changed from the 80s till now is the type of weapons that they use. Because, like I told somebody right now, they're using automatic weapons. But back then, you know, they had the Tommy gun. So, in my age, it was the AK-47. So, you know, everything is gonna evolve. It's you can't stop crime.
I feel like no matter what time it is, you can never stop crime. It's impossible.
You can't stop crime. You can slow crime down by being responsible for yours. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
You could slow it down, but I don't think there's ever a way to ever stop crime because it's just almost impossible. People you can't control. There's like what 7 billion, 8 billion people in the world. You can't control what's gonna happen.
For me, I feel like for crimes in New York, there's a lot. Like, there's times where I rode the train station before, and I done seen, certain individuals that's in the area, or you see every now and then in the area of, like, especially like 125th, right? Like, a lot of things happen on that street, in that train station, because it's so populated by the affection of, like, the drugs and stuff like that. So a lot of people, I don't like to use the word crackheads because I don't think that's a good word. I don't like using the word homeless. I would say a certain individual, they sit here and they play a part in these crimes because you hear about these people slashing, grabbing women's purses and stuff like that, and it's crazy. And it's not just a train station, like through certain neighborhoods, like gangs play a big part in these crimes as well, because everybody wants this block to be their block and stuff like that, but the truth is this block don't belong to nobody. It's just here, because God forbid the day that you go, is it still gonna be your block? It's not gonna be like that.
I think it's deeper than that.
Yeah,
I think it goes deeper. I will agree with you on the gang situation, but I don't think it's just the gangs. I think it's a mixture of everything that's going on.
People's lives.
Everything. Let's just understand something right now. And I don't like to put the business out there, but we are talking real. I want to keep it real. We all here deal with some type of law enforcement in our life. We all go through times where we get recognitions for things that we do because that's the choice that we made. Recently, we were just, you and I were just sitting down with PIX News, and we did an interview with them. And the thing that hurt me the most was for the amount of children you see who are graduating to become cadets, who want to be officers, who want to be lieutenants, who are in that role, who even if sometimes while you're in the program, if you stumble, so what if you stumble? You're still in the program. It's about the children who are not in the program. For that 20% that's in the program, you got to think about that 80% that's not. You can come pull up a chair, Kayla. Come on. You want to sit down with Daddy? Get a chair and sit down. It's okay. My point that I'm trying to make is that it's starting young. The younger generation right now are not even interested in becoming any type of law enforcement. That goes for being a correction officer. That goes for being a probation officer. None of that.
Do you think that also falls on the environment they grew up around as well?
I think the environment is one of the things that play a part in the person's decision on what his life is going to be like. But it doesn't always necessarily mean that the path you on is the path you can stay on. It's hard to come off. When you're in this world of crime, and this is how I look at it. This is not me reading no newspapers. It's been on my mind for a while. Because I was in that atmosphere and I literally broke down crying. Because it's hard to watch how many minorities you have who are willing to go through a program and graduate. To take the time out to say that whatever's happening in the street, I can't be a part of, I have to be a part of this. It takes more leadership to do what they're doing than to follow your peers. And don't get me wrong, the people in these programs are not angels. I'm not saying that they're angels, that they lead lives that are better than everybody else. I'm saying that you have to watch the numbers. Most people tell me don't ever give percentage on your numbers, but my numbers are in my face. I'm looking at it. I'm watching these young kids who get on the train, who commit these crimes, as well as I'm watching people my age, 55 and better, who are on the train committing the same crime. And then you gotta understand there are crimes that you may see on Facebook and YouTube that might not even make the news. It might not even make court. They might not never get caught. They might never, ever.
Sure.
There's so much stuff that goes on in a crime. There's no way that you can report. You can only report what you catch.
There's so much that's uncatched.
It makes me want to know what makes a person even want to be part of a system that may not even be telling the truth. And I'm part of that system.
For me,
And I'm not knocking them. Don't get me wrong.
No,
That's
no.
not what I'm saying. Because I know a lot of people say, no. What I'm saying to you, you have the majority of those people who are like to become law officers. I commend them because it's a hellified decision because the odds are against you. That's what I mean.
the way I see it is that, let's take a step for this part from law enforcement. You see how you got your good and bad people. You have that also in law enforcement, right? Some people say this cop is corrupted, but just like regular civilians or workers who are not NYPD related or law enforcement related, you have your good and your bad people. So like you said, like the numbers are in your face. So for me, I've seen both sides of both parties of, this cop is corrupted, now the civilian is a criminal. I've seen both sides, but the side I leaned towards was law enforcement more. And it's because not of much of, this is positive, this is negative, because anybody could take a negative role and make it to a positive. But the way I see it is, my role is my role. What I lean to is what I believe in.
Are you afraid?
No, not at all.
My whole thing, and my son said, Dad, you need to show us, said my whole thing. I just feel I'm nervous about the people who are going to put on the uniform. That's why I cried. Because I'm looking at it, but I'm also looking at the numbers of the people who come in on the arrest. I could see it. It doesn't justify the anger of anyone or an officer to any magnitude, but crime has hit its all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's a store owner. He owns a liquor store, and it's all in the news. I don't want to put his name out there, but the guy owns a liquor store. 2 men walked in his liquor store, and they robbed him. He was fierce. He was angry. He confronted the 2 robbers. He got into a confrontation with the 2 robbers, and he pulled his gun. He pistol whipped one of the robbers, and as he's pistol whipping the robber, the gun goes off and accidentally shoots him in the stomach. In this world of milk and honey, you have a man who's protected, who has every right to protect his property. But at what just cause? Because at some point this is a crime. And I'm choosing to talk to you guys about it because you guys have your foot in the door. I remember Anna saying you want to be a lawyer. This hits your desk. This hits your desk right now. You have a store owner who's licensed to carry. He pistol whips this guy for stealing from his store. But as he pistol whips him, the gun goes off and shoots him in the stomach. Now here's the ironic part of the story that I left out. And I left it out on purpose. As he's pistol whipping, they leave the store. The gun goes off outside of the store on a public sidewalk. He's licensed to carry for his store.
But it went out the store, pretty
It
much.
came out the store onto public property. Now here's where the catch-52 is. I always say this is the funny part because if it was sanitation, he would be given a ticket if that sidewalk was dirty. But to pull a gun, he might be considered a criminal because you used that firearm outside of your facility. But now you're the lawyer.
Am I defending him or?
As a lawyer, you have to decide what side you want to. Do you want to prosecute? Do you want to defend? You know, because even though a lawyer can choose sides, he has to know both. You can't swallow the prosecution side without eating the defendant side. So let's start as the prosecution lawyer.
I'm gonna prosecute him.
You're prosecuting. I make the arrest. I put it on your desk.
Mm-hmm.
I give you the scenario. This is how it happens. This is a crime in New York City. Now, mind you, I didn't tell you what county, what borough. Because, you know, each county, even though they're the same, we live in the same state of New York, every county has different gun laws.
Mm-hmm.
Every county has their own carry permits that they use. That's why each county has their own sheriff. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. People always say I don't get the facts. I wanted to give you the facts. I wanted to keep you to understand that it's about justice, because crime in the city right now has no justice. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay. So the permit is only for his store. It's not from outside. It's not for him to personally carry. One, see visual cameras to see the full story, because you can't just, assume and then go straight to it. Get the proper evidence. If the robber got shot in the stomach, then he went to a hospital. So we have to find the victim too. We see the cause of the victim, and that's how we go forward of what charges he would get.
So now here, I'm the defense lawyer. I object. And the first thing I'm going to say is, Your Honor, he has a carry permit because he carries cash to a deposit box. So you got to have protection for yourself. See, I left that out on purpose because I want you to understand that a crime can be committed by somebody who's licensed to carry, to travel, or to transport. And transport means from
one place to another.
Right. The address, maybe to the shooting range and back. Now, I'm not cutting you off because you say anything wrong, but I'm telling you that this is what the type of crime we're dealing with in New York City right now. And this wasn't a migrant situation. Although they want to say that the two young men were a certain ethnic group, I really don't think that matters.
No, not in the situation of the fact.
Right. Now, we all ride the trains here.
Yes.
We all can see the crimes on the train. And I'm not talking about the urinating part. I'm talking about the smoking of the crack on the train, the robberies, the fights. Are we safe on our New York City trains?
But we also get the fault of that because we're not doing nothing about it.
As a civilian?
As a civilian.
What should we do?
Some of us let stuff happen and just report. We don't really...
Well, what can we do as well?
We can not just record, we could call the cops, or if someone's bleeding, try to stop it. Do something, not just stand there. I know we have this shock moment where we shocked, but sometimes you have to step up.
Yeah, but I feel like, for some people, right, you could say that, but when the moment comes, you don't know how you're going to react unless the moment comes. You could say, you want to, help the person out, but when the moment really happens, you might actually, end up being in shock and freeze up. That could also happen.
I give you 50-50 on that.
50-50?
Because if you're not afraid to record, then you shouldn't be afraid to help.
Yeah.
Because at this point, well, I'm telling you, how many? If you watch a person get stabbed and somebody records that, and you get 5 recordings of that same stabbing, not one out of that 5 decided to help. You have to understand what I'm saying. Not 1 out of that 5.
Yeah, but like I understand that, but it's like, you know, it's like someone could say like, oh, if I see somebody get hurt, like I'll help them out or something. But when the moment comes, they might just end up like freezing up and just standing in the moment, not doing nothing. You know, not even recording.
But you're not will be forever freeze. You could be freeze for 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, but within
at
those
max.
2 or 3 minutes,
2
a
or
lot
3
could
minutes is
happen.
a long time.
That's a long time, and a lot could happen within that time as well.
And that happened. Yeah, I could stab a person 100 times in 2 minutes. My point, I'm just saying is, do you think it's a crime that a person pulls out their phone first before helping or calling 911? Should that be a crime? You're watching a crime be committed, but you're recording it.
I'm gonna say 50-50 on that one.
Okay, I'm
I feel like there's a fault in that, because if you could see something happen,
See something, say something, do something about it.
then you might have a fault because you could have stopped it.
How many crimes you've seen that didn't report? Let's be honest, be real.
In my lifetime,
It don't even matter in your lifetime. It could be the smallest possibility to the biggest. Because we were involved in one. Excuse the expression.
yeah.
I'm just saying. You have to understand that what crime in the city can be. I'm just being
They Biggie,
honest.
why are you smiling?
Tell me.
You know, I'm not trying to.
To answer the question, yeah, or answer. Do I think it's a crime? I also say 50-50 because
Yeah.
I say 50-50 because, all right, let's put it like this: a person or a detective,
Mm-hmm.
if a crime happened, right, automatically you're there, you're a witness, you're a suspect.
Right.
But it's like there was over 20, 30 people on that platform or in the street with me. So you tell me all 20, 30, 40, 50 people is suspects and, you know, witnesses. So it's like, what, you're going to lock all 50 of us up and try to target every last one of us? So
Well, what if 25 of them 50 pull out phones before they even think about helping you?
it's going to surface on the internet, so you're going to get the surveillance in where you put it.
Forget the internet. If you got time to pull out your phone, you mean you don't have time to help me?
Right. And more of them
But
asking for it.
It's
too.
2 different
It's,
actions. I
it's,
feel
it's,
like.
it's hard to help somebody sometimes because what happened if you're about to help them but there's a gun on scene? What happened if you're about to help and there's multiple people hurting that one individual? What, so you're gonna sit there and go put your life at risk and only do that and then end up probably in the same situation as the person who's getting harmed, and then when the first person that your family will say, why didn't you mind your business? That had nothing to do with you.
I get it. That's why I say 50-50
Mhm.
because if I can't help you, but I can record who did it to you.
That's helping in a way.
I mean, it is helping, but I'm
But
just
also
saying
hurt
that
as well.
that's more of a person who's like, oh, I'm watching, and you on Facebook watching, like, damn, well, help him.
That's why I say I feel like it's 50-50 because you could help yet hurt the person unintentionally as well. Because at least in the footage, you could, you know, help the person out and see what, you know, they get hurt. But then when it comes to harm, it's like, damn, you just sitting there watching. But I feel like he said, you know, you don't want to put your life in danger as well. And not only that, your family's also gonna be like, oh, why would you put yourself in this mess as well? And then like, you know, I'm not too much into like, you know, the law side of that part, but eventually cops are gonna be like, oh, why don't you mind your business? I feel like, or whatever detective is questioning you or something like that. I feel like,
Why you
I
just
mean,
call the cops?
yeah, that's what they would tell you.
Does the law side play a part in this stuff?
Yeah.
I say yes.
Yeah, because
Why?
it can also get you in trouble as well.
The law side does play a part because let's first start off with the responding to these situations. Sometimes a person could be not too far from a exact crime and
And
take
they'll take-
hours and minutes to get away. But it's like,
Exactly.
if we're supposed to
45
be the
minutes.
first responding people and always reacting to these crimes, why would it take us so long just to leave the precinct? Don't you already have your uniform on? Don't you already have your stuff together? Why are you taking so long? By the time you're taking your 3 times to get to that scene, that person could be bleeding out to death,
Mhm.
or you know whatever the condition they're in, it could be getting worse than when it first happened. So it's all about how fast the city. And
That's a
you
hard
know,
thing to put on people who protect
It is a hard thing. I'm not saying it's
and
not,
serve, and people who say
but it is.
that.
But
That's
but
hard.
it is hard. I'm not saying it's not. It is hard, but like I said, I done seen certain situations where things happen. It was not too far from a certain command or a precinct, and it took hours just to reach that location.
You know what? That does play a part in the major aspect of a lot of crimes, as we speak it. Right?
Yeah.
As we're speaking,
But I don't want to put the response time, especially for people who live, especially for officers who live in this city, especially if they work in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
The traffic, the children, the speeding, all that plays a part in getting to a destination at a certain time. Now, I can understand your fact of saying not being able to be in your vehicle at a reasonable time. That I can understand. I would agree with you to that part. But I think that the reason why our crime is the way it is because we put a lot of emphasis on our police officers, our fire departments, our social service people, our teachers, our correction officers. I mean, a lot of things, a lot of crimes, a lot of them take place in places people know. And I think a lot of things that help the community is that when police officers try to embark certain things, the community took it away. Now, I'm not for the stop and frisk either. But since you had to stop and frisk, look at the crime rate that's went up. We're working hard to do the thing with this gun buyback, but meanwhile, while you letting them put the registered guns given away for free, they're learning how to build and buy ghost guns, which are non-traceable. And I just have a problem with the way the city is going right now. I can't speak for the world. The world has to speak for itself. I can only see what I see that goes on in my 5 boroughs. To the point right now where even bus drivers are not safe.
Yeah.
They're getting maced. You're not safe. The fact that you have to constantly keep in touch with your loved one if they're going from Bronx to Queens. I'm scared. Go ahead.
I also feel like, like crime is bad, and whether you wear this uniform or not, like crime's still gonna happen, and it's like
You can't change it.
you're right, you can't change it. So like we appreciate the law enforcement for trying their best, but it's like it's not enough of them, and it's too many of negative people. I'm gonna say not enough people because not everybody's negative, but the ones that's committing crimes and that's increasing the crime rates is like there's probably just too much of them and too many different places, locations for the law enforcement side, whether it's cops, fire department, whoever. It's just not enough of us to sit there and expand that much. No matter what you say, right? We know we have different commands and precincts in different boroughs, right?
Right.
But you gotta understand. Think about, like you said, the traffic. Think about how long these blocks are, the cuts, the different address. There's times where our government or our world change certain addresses and streets. So it's like sometimes people get used to new locations and new street names. So that also plays a part. Change the names to the streets. Not everybody's gonna know where the street is at, especially if it just got changed not that long ago.
I think chaos is to me, chaos is so crime can go up. I always said that. I always call that organized confusion. In order for you to have organization, you must first have confusion, so you have someone to organize it. Police don't get paid without criminals. Fire departments don't get paid without fires. Ambulance people don't get to pick up the hurt without somebody hurt. So we all have to understand that we live in a business. And we live in the business of crime. Think about all the people who have jobs, who work in the facility of the criminal activity. Let's start with the police officer. Let's start with the correction officer. Let's start with the lawyers. Let's start with the clerks. Let's start with the jail systems. Everything that's designed around the United States is designed around the criminal system. For you to sit there and put out numbers and say, yo, the crime is this. Why? Why tell people that? When this table can sit there and see the difference.
I feel like it's best to tell people because a lot of people are not entwined like we are. Like a lot of people are not into this how we are. A lot of people don't sit and take the time out of their day to sit and watch the news. And I'm one of them who don't take the time to watch the news. but due to what I do, the program, man, and my mom, she watches the news, and with her, she's a mother at the end of the day, so she always tells me, hey, when you ride the train, keep your AirPods off your ear, watch your back, watch what you do, keep your iPad away, don't be putting out fancy objects, because these are the things that could lead to crimes. Some people are flashy, so when you're flashy, you put yourself as a target. And I'm not saying that, because I just popped out a new pair of new Jordans that, this gives you the green light to rob me. But it's like certain places and times you don't do certain things. So sometimes we could avoid certain situations, but some people are just hard-headed.
You'd rather be safe than sorry.
Should we be allowed to carry to protect ourselves? And I'm not saying gun. I'm just saying
No, right.
anything of that nature.
That
I would say yes, but at the same time, that other people are gonna take it, and take advantage of it in some way, somehow.
And that's the part that sucks. Like, again, I know a lot of people who's gonna see this is getting tired of us saying 50-50, but it's true. Like, some people will be able to say and carry firearms, pepper spray, tasers, stuff like that. You're gonna say it doesn't have to be a firearm, but any other type of weapon, whether it's handmade or bought. Like, the people who are able to have self-control are able to carry, but the people who just runs around and act a fool, they mess it up for the other side. Or those people who are willing to sit there and control themselves
For
and
the
use
other
it
50%.
when they're ready to use it when they know it's necessary. Some people use it when even unnecessary. Hey, you step on me, I don't like you, I'm gonna hurt you. You push me the wrong way, I'm gonna hurt you. You look at me the wrong way, I'm gonna hurt you. But why?
Because that's the other 50%.
And that's what I'm saying.
But that might be just mentality of man.
Well,
You were taught at a young age to defend. First thing you were taught coming up, yes, you might have learned to say mommy and daddy, but maybe that third or fourth thing you taught is hit back.
I was taught that.
You were taught that. You were taught at a young age to defend yourself.
that's why they say that our generation is the worst generation.
I don't think it's a generation. I mean, I'm not cutting you off. And I'm not saying, because no, I don't believe that. I don't believe your generation is the worst. Every generation
Has their own mess up, sorry, cut you
yeah,
off.
they had, who's to say which generation might have committed more crime? You can't say that.
I feel like it's also about to communication. People misinterpret the word defend. People take the word defend as, oh, you do this to me, and what I'm doing to you doesn't have to physically, harm you. But guess what? That word defend means you did this to me, so I'm gonna retaliate and do this back. So I feel like a lot of people some people, misinterpret the word defend. Defend to them means I'm gonna start first, but that's not what defend means.
But see, my man.
Defense, in my word, means when you attack, I have to defend myself no matter the cause.
I feel like defending should be.
I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
I feel like I understand that, but then also it's like if somebody else initiates it, then you're defending yourself. But it's like at the same time, it's like people got different ways of defending themselves. Some people might just get angry, take something out, and start hurting somebody with it, or like everything goes back to like what you were taught, like you said, because people were taught different things at different ages. Some people would be taught, strike first, hit first, and that's the way you keep yourself right. But what about the trouble that you're gonna put yourself into if you do that as well? So it's like that's why I say 50-50 with it. And when it comes to like our generation, like I agree. Like I don't think you could say any generation is really the worst than the others. 'Cause I feel like while a lot of people think like our generation today is the worst, is because we have the most media around us. I feel like that was the case back in the 80s or the 90s or even earlier than that. It would be a lot different, but now we got the most advanced technology and stuff, so everything we could do get recorded and put in the media easier than it would, let's say, 20 years ago from today.
I agree with that. I'm also gonna say this, and what I think is, and I had to really and like I said, shout out to my son Gorilla 2K, because he definitely put something in perspective about me. He kept saying that too, like me and young generation. He said, "No, Dad, you got to think about what you did in your generation. You know what? This generation has a tough time living in the environment that they live in too. I had that same problem. I also had that problem going to school. The same environment that these youths face at home, they face in school too. Racism, color, gang related, not being able to communicate. You have to fight, and it just seems like more children are fighting in school than they are outside the school. It seems like when they are outside the school fighting, it's because they don't go to school at all. I don't want to pinpoint generations in crime, because you know what, we had some of the worst. And just like I know my parents' generation, they probably had their killers too in their times. You know, it's
different every generation. It's like, you know, it's not like any
Not
generation
really.
is better than others. It's just like I feel like everything's more shown now than it would be like back then.
and I think that's the only reason why crime seems to be the way it is, because people have cameras.
That's what I'm saying.
People have recordings now. Before, you didn't have all of that. You know, to catch a crime back then on the camera was rare. That was something that was rare. Now it's not rare. It's like every corner you turn, there's a camera sitting in your face. I mean, we live in a world where, like I said, if crime is not at an all-time high, people will lose their jobs. People will lose their jobs. It's a shame, in order for somebody to get paid, somebody has to get hurt. But that's the way this nation is built. Why would you need an ambulance that drives around the city if you're not expecting someone to get hurt? You can't tell somebody to stop crime, stop shooting, but yet you got ambulance who travel through the whole city. Or policemen who are on patrol. Right? You telling me that they stop the crime, but why are they there? Why do you have firefighters who are on the ready?
It could be two reasons. Either they really care about people's safety or the money.
You have to expect the unexpected. You live in a world right now with your world right now in the Bronx alone may consider 850 people, maybe 700,000. 850 people to 700,000, depending on the location where you live. Because you might have 850 people living on one block, in damn near 2-3 buildings on one block. That's not even counting. Imagine if you count all the people who lived here on this block right here.
Yeah,
It's a lot. And then you talk about and the block goes around before you even cross the street to go. So you're talking about a whole block that goes all the way around in the square perimeter of a quarter of a mile. So you may have about maybe 1,000 to 5,000 to 6,000 people living in one vicinity on a block. Share a store, share a laundromat, they share certain eating areas, so you don't think sooner or later somebody's bound to run into somebody with some type of anger.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just saying. Crime has to be looked at different. We're looking at it as if, we're looking for somebody to blame. There's nobody to blame for crime. I can't tell you when it started, but I can tell you it's not going to end no time soon. And I don't think crime got anything to do with good or bad. I believe it's something that each nation or each state needs or community needs to exist in order for you to have. This is why you don't have these small town, these sheriffs don't make a lot of money, because what crime they going to investigate? You may get a shooting happen in your town every 4 years. You understand? So you only got one sheriff, one deputy, and they close at 8. You understand? This is a 24-hour police department. You got about 100 police departments, over 200 police departments in the 5 boroughs alone. Each police department holds about a good 1,000 men. You get 100 men response sometimes to a call. They fly down these streets. And you telling me crime is down. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank y'all for joining us at the dinner table. We all stuck tonight. It's an unusual way to be tonight. And it's not because anyone's fault. It's just that tonight was Memorial Weekend, so I want to give a good praise and good dose for all those who served in the service. This world would not be the way it is if it was not for your heart, your time, and your dedication. And I want to take the time to say thank you. We do appreciate your time and your service. And I also want to give a shout out to two good families that I know, and I'm going to get to y'all. I'm about to do a story on the Rencher family and my cousin Dee Dee's family. I can't think. I wanted to call them the Jenkins family, but they are not the Jenkins family. I'm sorry. I forgot it. I had it on the tip of my tongue. But I'm going to do two stories on them because the simple fact of their children who are doing remarkable things. And I said I'm going to start recognize my Facebook family for their accomplishments and the things they do. Anybody else?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to my fiance. She's also in the service, and she will be with us next week. She comes home.
Uh-oh.
So yes.
Okay.
So yeah.
To my uncle, he's a Navy Marine.
All right now, salute.
To my father, even though, you know, he's no longer in service, but if you're watching,
Yeah.
Salute. So we want to wish everybody a happy and safe Memorial Weekend. Join us next Sunday where we will be live. We'll be in the studio. Everything will be great. Until then, we will see you later. And there is no woody woo tonight. Good night, people. Good night.